Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gerdes, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick, and my business partner, as he always likes to point out, doesn't want any confusion. I just don't know whether you don't find me attractive or charming or whatever the case is, but my business partner, Ryan Gerdes.
My hetero life partner.
Oh, Mike.
All right, storytelling time. What we're going to talk about today are the best jobs predicted for 2024. Ryan, your very first job you ever had.
Where I was working for somebody else, or
yes,
okay.
like something that considered a, I'm not going to call it a legit job.
Sure.
Car washing and mowing lawns is not one. Where you're actually getting paid from a company.
Yep. And it was Alhambra School District, and I was painting and mowing lawns. I was.
Okay.
I mean, I was mowing lawns on my own. Ever since the 6th grade, I'd push my lawnmower around the neighborhood, and it was $10 a pop, and it took me about 45 minutes per house to bang it all out, and then I got turned like 15 and a half or 15 and 10 months old, and then my mom signed off on a slip, and I could go work. She worked for the Alhambra School District, and so that summer I'd go and mow every single lawn in that school district. If you're familiar with the Alhambra School District, there is not one school where I haven't cut every inch of that grass, or trimmed that tree, or painted that building. All of it. Did it all.
Well, Justin's mom signed a slip, and Justin woke up one day, found himself in a straitjacket in a padded room. But that's a story for another day. Your first job, pal. You thought it was going to be a real mom joke.
Yeah,
didn't you?
I
You were
did.
like,
All right, so I was a cook at Swenson's.
oh my
Hell yeah.
gosh. Yeah,
it
doggy.
was great. We had every cheerleader at our school worked there, and so I was a cook there. And,
Were you the one cheerleader that flings them in the air, or what?
there was multiple. Yeah, it was a good job. It was.
Did you hit on all the football players?
Dan, is this jump on Justin Day or what?
Might as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
he was kicking my ass at first. Now
yeah.
you got to
No,
kick
this is
his
my
ass.
turn.
Yeah.
My first job I ever had, I think I was
Were you a
like,
masseuse?
yeah. Okay, you're welcome for the things I don't say,
Little rub and
right?
tug, little happy ending.
Okay, this is a podcast, bro. What are you
How
doing?
many dudes
Exactly.
did you see
We
a
can
day?
say whatever the hell we want.
We're no Howard Sterns.
Well,
Oh yeah.
So
start somewhere.
first job I ever had, I was like 14 and a half years old. I worked
You were that young while you were doing that?
Yeah,
Dude.
I matured early.
It's against the law these days.
Yeah, my mom signed a slip.
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
But I worked at an aquarium store, freshwater aquarium store, and I set up tanks and sold fish, and probably one of the funnest things we ever did. I remember we would set up these tanks. I love setting up tanks, and now I got a 125-gallon freshwater fish tank at home because.
Were you dressed up like a mermaid and out flipping a sign in front?
Man, I would love that.
Or a merman? I'm a merman.
These days, he, she, it's all the same.
Yeah.
And so I remember we set up this big tank, and we put the rocks and the gravel and some plants, and we put on the label, we put invisible fish 1995. There was no fish in there. There was none. But we called it the invisible fish. And people would just sit there for minutes staring
Trying
at
to
it
find
going,
them.
oh, I think I see it. Oh, there it is.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, so. All right, so best jobs for 2024. And I love this. This was a national study, national prediction and projections. But when I took a look at these top 5 jobs, I'm like, this is why Arizona, and especially the Phoenix metropolitan area, is such not only a great place to live, but a great place to invest in. Number 1, nurse practitioner. Number 2, financial manager. Number 3, software developer. Number 4, IT manager. And number 5, physician assistant. Your daughter, Ryan, is going down the medical field. So I think you have a little bit of firsthand experience and done some research. What is that market like here, and why in the Phoenix area?
It is unbelievable how many opportunities there are out there for whether it's volunteer work or internship, depending on where you are in your path. But she has had no problem finding tons of opportunities, and there's still demand through the roof. Because, birds of a feather. So the other kids that she goes to school with that are interested in going down that path, they've found each other, and they kind of, collaborate, and hey, there's this opportunity over here or this opportunity over there. She had the very unique and awesome opportunity to work out there with our boys at Luke Air Force Base over at their medical clinic for this past summer.
Big shout out to Umpty.
Yeah, big shout out to Umpty and Rohan the Magnificent. They really took her in, folded her in as if she was one of their own, and really felt like she was kind of part of their family. And they all wrote these glowing letters of recommendation. She must have paid them well. I don't. But she just had a blast, learned so much, and. It was like a shadowing program because obviously she's not in the military, and she's doesn't have any of her medical credentials yet, so she wasn't allowed to touch anything or put her hand anything like that. But she was able to go over there and observe and kind of get firsthand what the real world looks like.
Her mom couldn't get her to sign a slip.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'm the one who signed those slips. But
and also on this list is physician assistant. So kind of, it's kind of lumps
PAs.
into the medical field.
PAs end up doing the majority of the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's nurses and PAs. They're handling all the heavy lifting, and then the actual physician themselves are the ones that are going in there making the tough calls. So I'm not downgrading or upgrading any position. I'm just saying like the liability ultimately falls on the head physician. That's where the buck stops. But if you really want to get your hands dirty and get some trench work and really understand the business, then you have to earn your stripes doing nurse work or PA work or phlebotomy or all those different types of things, depending on what path you ultimately want to go down.
Well, and part of the magic here is because, one, let's just face it, baby boomers are getting older, and they're getting up at that age where they're retiring. And as you get older, you need more medical attention. And no pun intended, but this area is just a hotbed for retirees and things like that. So it's offers such a tremendous opportunity for those people who are looking, in the nursing and in the physician world or medical field. Justin, I know you're on the mortgage side, the finance side. A lot of money here, and a lot of money coming here. And financial managers are in need, and this market provides a great opportunity.
Great opportunity for financial managers. But just back to medicals too. We see the money that these people make, and I feel like it's my daughter's going down this road too. She's already starting at her high school, but I see medical finance. Obviously, the more population you have, the more these positions are needed because you have to service the community, right? And financial managers, I feel like there's not enough of these guys out here that really know what they're getting, that they're doing.
There's enough of them out here, just not enough that really know what they're doing.
Right. I know I see a lot of people that dabble in this and dabble in that, or they stick to their guns on certain things. I want somebody that knows.
Or they take a 3-month course and they think that they're
right.
It's interesting. We talk about it all the time as real estate agents, and of course we refer to ourselves as real estate wealth managers, of how most people, when they're conversing with us and making a decision to hire us, don't really ask our experience level or whatever the case is. But I'm not going to lie to you. I've never once asked any of my financial managers or any financial manager that I've interviewed of what their personal investment portfolio look like. And is that important?
I
feel it.
Of course you. I don't know. It just never crossed my mind.
Yeah,
that's surprising you, because I feel like you would be one that would dig into that.
You know what shocks me the most? So the 7 C's, right, of Maricopa County,
There's
Arizona.
6, but
or
you
6.
threw in. I'm curious to know what the 7th is. The one that you just made up.
Yeah, probably has something to do with your first job. But how big of a leap we've taken over all these years that we're now a hotbed for medical and for IT. And one thing that's not on here, but is very, I mean, a lot of people moving here is when it comes to renewable energy, those types of engineers here, because we have solar, and then we have areas that are starting to take advantage of wind and river, hydro electricity, and so that's become a huge job here as well.
Hey, was it the 5 Cs or was it 6 Cs?
I don't remember. I threw out 7 because I felt like 7 is what popped into my head.
This is not The Price is Right,
yeah,
right?
I don't know. It was, dude. We're talking 3rd grade stuff.
I know, but okay. So we had copper, climate, cattle, citrus,
cotton,
and cotton. And
is it 5?
yeah,
Q.
that was 5. It was the
5?
5 Cs.
Okay.
The 5 Cs. Okay.
All right. So my bad. I was heavy by 2.
You scored a touchdown.
All right. Yeah, with an extra point. So none of those really are in alignment with what we're talking here and how we've evolved over all these years. Because ASU is opening up their own medical program here, I believe in Tempe is where they're going to do it, maybe downtown. But U of A has always had a pretty good foothold on the medical field here, and then our hospitals are second to none. People come here from all over the world for the hospitals, and then we have one of the best children's hospitals in the U.S. as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not surprising, but it's exciting because it's brought a heck of a lot more diversity into the valley.
I love on this list 3 and 4 software developer and IT manager. I was talking with a young lady the other day who was looking to going to college and looking at majoring in either data analytics or software development, but concerned about the job market being possibly oversaturated. And I'm like, not a chance.
Right.
There's not a chance. And
that market's
and we've
growing.
always been taught, at least in the business world, every single kid, they tried with me to teach me a second language in school, but that didn't take. I mean, the first language didn't take
tough
very
enough.
well. Yeah.
We've heard you read.
But we always talk about how you need to, really, for young people, they need to have that second language. When you're bilingual, more opportunities to present themselves.
Absolutely.
And I argue that instead of maybe Spanish or Cantonese or Farsi or whatever the case is, I would put one of those languages, as far as, putting it in there, is basically computer programming and computer language. And I'm trying to, the name of it's escaping.
Code writing?
Code, yeah, code. Code is a language to me, and it's a great replacement of the traditional languages. But, out here, we're part of the business community. The amount of startups out here and the amount of technology and the amount of software development that goes on in this market is absolutely incredible. So as we talk about these top 5 jobs, when we get one of these jobs, and maybe we're now into $70, $80, $90, $100,000 a year, I know the answer of how quickly do you start thinking about real estate, and you should have already started thinking about real estate, but what now becomes the game plan?
Well, the beauty about, numbers 3 and 4, software developer and IT manager, is 80% plus of those jobs are done from home.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so because we've put ourselves on the map for growing horizontally, being Silicon Valley, LA, New York, Seattle, those places have gone so horizontal and gotten so much more expensive, and then their taxes, and we've talked about all these things before, but if they're just getting into the industry, they're not quite making, level 2, level 3, 4 plus tiers, that type of money, then they need to drive a little bit before they start getting into what they want, and they can do that from home. Now, when you're into the medical world, nurse practitioners, I can't tell you how many traveling nurses there are. So a lot of these young folks that go to nursing school and get their RN degree, they can travel around the world and get paid well and
That's what I would do.
Yeah,
they should check it out. Check out the world. See
Okay,
where you
so
wanna work.
that begs the other question, because this is the thing that we run into sometimes with our military people out there at Luke Air Force Base. I'm going to only live here for 2 years, so I'm just going to rent. I don't want to buy.
Oh, dude. So I'm on, it's the Gypsy Nurse and Travel Nursing Furnished Finder or something like that. A couple of those Facebook groups pages, and it's where all the traveling nurses, they look for housing because, as you know, we have some midterm rentals that we have available for those folks. And somebody put on there something in regards to, I don't know, needing a place, and I was like, well, why don't you just buy, because you can get lending on it, and then when you uproot and go to the next place, you can buy there as primary, and then just keep hopping all over the country and just get primaries all over the world because you have orders from your job that you have to relocate. I got crucified.
Yeah.
I got crucified, and then one person finally raised their hand, and she is kicking ass and taking names now.
Because she's doing
She's doing it.
She bought one, and she's from Ohio, and she has her home here. So she tries to take assignments here during the winter, and then back home during the summer in Ohio.
That would be great.
And then she's like, well, I kind of like Boston too, and so she's kicking around Boston, and so I've introduced her to someone out there, and I couldn't be more happy for her. Now, she got her teeth kicked in for probably the first 3 to 6 months, and it was one of those very, difficult conversations for her, because I had prepared her, but I don't care how much preparing you do, when you see money dumping out of your bank account, it's scary, right? When there's nothing coming in and a bunch going out. And then after about 6 months, I talked to her again, and she was just like, oh, we had just these folks come and stay. They signed a 6-month contract, and
fantastic.
And now I'm making money off of it, and actually they're fixing stuff in
well,
there, whatever things go wrong.
This to our listeners is what we do. This is why you text into the show, because we provide you with insight. We provide you with strategies. We are going to have conversations with you unlike any other conversations you've ever had with a real estate professional. So whether you're looking for those strategies, buying, selling, investing, whatever the case is, go ahead and text the word jobs to 623-AZ-RECON. That's jobs to 623-AZ-RECON. Guys, it's one of the things that I love. And this is especially if you're here for 2 years and you're like, I don't want to commit. I don't want to buy. I'm just going to rent, which I like to say you're just pissing your money away. It's one of the lessons that we should all learn from, and I can only speak from the Air Force pilot side, because we're so entrenched at Luke Air Force Base. These pilots, they bounce around pretty much every 2 years because our military moves them. But what a lot of them have done is they get transferred to a place, they buy a home, and they live in it. And then they don't sell it. They put a renter in there, and they go to another base. They buy a home, and there's some bases.
And the beauty is they usually rent to people that are also in the same branch, because they usually buy near the base.
Exactly, and there are some bases they'll tell you that we don't want to buy anything, but for the most so we work with these pilots, these men and women who serve this country, and they own homes all across the country. They're cash flowing, they're building equity, they get tax benefits, and not only, and well-deserved, do they get a great retirement plan from the government for giving up 20 to 22 years of their lives to serve this country. Now they've got 4, 5, 6 homes in their real estate portfolio. They're set. Mm-hmm. They're set. That's the lesson.
They're going to wake up one day, it's going to be paid off, and then it's just going to be straight gravy. And it's wonderful because they do love investing, and they see the long game. And that can be difficult, especially when you're being mobilized so much. A lot of these folks are newer families. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different stresses going on in life. And then, obviously they're trying to build their rank in their job. And so it can be difficult to throw that extra, moving part into the mix. But the ones that do, never have they called me up and said, Ryan, I totally regret doing that.
And the ones that don't, always call us and say, I wish I had.
Yep. Yep. And
So, all right. Anyways, if you're looking for strategies to create your personal wealth in real estate, whether buying, selling, investing, I would love to have that conversation with you. All you got to do is text the word jobs to 623-AZ-RECON. That's jobs to 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.